Good morning. I camped last night at the site where the Mojave Road school bus was abandoned and sat here for many years. It was a landmark on the Mojave Road. Today on the route we will visit some petroglyph sites, probably some old homesteads, and maybe a mine or two. We'll see what we can find.
We are still traveling along the Mojave Road recreation route. For a time, the EMHT and the Mojave Road coincide. The track can be washed out and very rough here. The ruts in this area can be very deep. Here we have the Mojave Road's penny can.
This is an old landmark for the Mojave Road, and you're supposed to leave a penny. Entering the burn scar from the York fire, which happened last year. Looks like the Mojave Road was the fire break, because trees on the north side are burned and trees on the south side are not. grasses have recovered. I was actually going to run the trail last year, but between the York fire and hurricanes and floods, I decided to postpone it. Roads were closed, and it wasn't readily accessible. It was very questionable whether I could even run the trail. This year it's open and available, and that's a good thing. We are now crossing Landfair Road, and if you took a left, you would head right back down to Goff's. This was the former line of Nevada Southern Railway, which started construction in 1893 and was supposed to haul ore from the mining districts in southeastern California, southern Nevada. Went bankrupt, and 6 years later was extended north into Ivanpah Valley. In 1902, it was acquired by the Santa Fe Railroad. Wasn't very profitable, and lots of maintenance required due to washouts, and the Santa Fe abandoned their rails north of Goff's in 1923. The monument is actually in the original roadbed. Whether those tracks are original from this section, probably not, but they're in the right spot. We are about to turn off the Mojave Road. Looks like we are out of the York Fire burn scar, but we're about to go deeper into it shortly here. The York Fire, I think, was started as a lightning strike, and it's named after the New York Mountains, which are just north of here, and we will be driving past them. And I don't know the acreage, but it was big. And out here there's not a whole lot for them to fight with, so it's probably just make a stand along established roadways. This was the Fred Welch homestead, established in 1914, and that's about all I know. Like it was added on to several times. It's the water and a lot more. Time to make lunch, or prepare lunch. So I have been doing for a long time, and I haven't done it much recently, but going to make a manifold burrito. And all you need is a warm engine, hot engine, and a secure place on top of the engine to to install your burrito or other item. It could be something like a hot pocket or something else that works warmed up. And place it on top of the engine, wherever it's going to be secure and stay in place, and then drive for a couple hours. And so it's 10 o'clock right now. I could have done it earlier, but I just thought of it. So 2 hours should be more than enough time to get it warmed up. And I have a spot I found on my engine that works very well. Get it down in a hottest area you can find. It's on the manifold, it's even better, but Toyotas don't have accessible manifolds. And then just drive. And in 2 to 4 hours, it will be piping hot. Well, this old corral was surrounded by fire, but managed to mostly survive. It looks like there's just a little bit of scorching on some of the posts and railroad ties. Stacked rock wall surrounding a camper. It looks like some sort of a tiny cabin.
The rock walls and camper were listed as private property when the original guides were published in 1987. They are still standing today. Other than a few items being moved or removed, they still look the same as when I was last here in 2006. There are some interesting rocks in the piles, including jasper and chert.
Mountains ahead are the New York Mountains, and the canyon now becoming visible kind of off to the right is Carruthers Canyon. And there's supposed to be some campsites up there. Of course, there's also some private land. So it's too early for camp, so I'm continuing on. But just kind of watch where you camp if you decide to camp there. coming down from the New York mountains. It's a nice little slope, and it's very smooth. Looks like it's had a blade run over it, unlike the road going up that we came up on. Very rough in places and quite eroded. This is pretty smooth. Quail in the bush. This was the OX Ranch headquarters.
These corrals and buildings were the headquarters of the OX Cattle Company. The OX was established after the Rock Springs Land and Cattle Company folded in 1929. Much of the range we have been traveling through was the Rock Springs Range. Before the OX, this area was known as the town of Maruba. It started with a homesteader who drilled a deep well in 1912. Shortly thereafter, he sold the land and well to Eleanor Jacoby, who sold water to homesteaders who had no water supply of their own. In 1915, the town was named Maruba, after a sailing ship, when the post office was established. Across Ivanpah Road from the ranch and the railroad tracks, there was the post office, a small store, houses, and a railroad siding. The children in the area went to school in Barnwell, about 8 miles to the north, by riding the train each way.
And we're back on Ivanpah Road again for a short time. Terrain changed from smooth to rocky. It looks like now it's kind of back again to smooth. Mostly. Those are the New York mountains that we just came from. And those are the Castle Mountains. A large active mine there.
The Castle Mountains ahead used to be home to the mining town of Hart and the Hart Mining District. Originally, the Heritage Trail was to be routed through the town, but as the route was being developed in 1987, the inactive district suddenly became very active, and the trail had to be routed around the large mining operation. As predicted at that time, large-scale mining continues to this day. The mining area was discovered in late 1907. By February 1908, the town had somewhere between 400 and 700 residents. By 1910, the town had shrunk to 40 residents. It's a lovely day today. Truck says it's 85 degrees, but it doesn't feel like it. And I've been driving with the windows down
pretty much all day. So, something to look forward to in mid-October. Found some petroglyphs in these black covered rocks. They're rocks covered with desert varnish. Seem to be random symbols. They're not pictures of anything that I would recognize. This one's kind of recognizable. Maybe. I found these petroglyphs beside the road after climbing the hill to the south and not finding any in the rocks there. Most of these are unrecognizable symbols as well. That peak up ahead is called Razorback Butte.
This is the Stray Cow Well. That name goes back to at least 1907, when the Rock Springs Land and Cattle Company filed for their patent to the land. This rock has both prehistoric and historic inscriptions. Piece of steel stuck and wrapped around a boulder. Looks like it was from a water trough or tank.
It's probably hard to see in the wide-angle view, but that town up against the base of the far mountains, toward the left a little bit, is Searchlight, Nevada. And I'm almost on empty, and that's where I gotta go for fuel. Here's the first segment mailbox. At 733 miles in length and crossing multiple agency jurisdictions, the East Mojave Heritage Trail is only possible through the massive support of multiple individuals, associations, corporations, and government agencies. Last entry is September 1st, 2024, Bronco Bill and Max. First entry of this book is January 14, 2022. Previous trail register was deteriorated and is now archived at MDHCA at Goff's Cultural Center. And it was used May 15, 2011 to 12/29/21. It's a beautiful campsite at the base of the Heart Mountains. Good morning. Today I am not too far from the mailbox for segment 1 that I signed in yesterday evening. And there is one
mailbox for each segment, usually in an out-of-the-way place. So I will be visiting all of them. Today, we will be continuing on segment 1. Should probably get finished with it today. I'll stop in Searchlight, Nevada for fuel. The Lexus is kind of thirsty, and I'm carrying 20 extra gallons, but I've got to keep it topped off whenever it's available. We'll visit some mines, some ghost towns and ghost camps, and let's see what else we can find. Here's an interesting new style of flame marker that I've never seen before. Pressure treated post standing up in rocks and a little engraved sign printed on it. This road goes straight into Searchlight, Nevada, which you can see in the distance, and you can see the road going straight to it. Way up ahead, maybe 10-15 miles or so. Only
many detours are these washouts.
We are driving on the roadbed of the Barnwell and Searchlight Railway into the town of Searchlight, Nevada. George Colton had reportedly said that it would take a searchlight to find gold here. Shortly thereafter, he discovered gold in the area on May 6, 1897. His duplex mine and others created a boom lasting over 10 years. In 1906, the AT and SF Railroad started work on a 23-mile extension from Barnwell on the Nevada Southern Line that we have seen the past 2 days, northeast into Searchlight. This road was built mainly to prevent competition from entering the area. Between 1907 and 1910, the gold mines here produced $7 million in gold and other minerals, and the town had a population of 1,500. Searchlight declined after 1917, and the railroad was abandoned in 1923 due to lack of traffic. The rails were taken up and the cross ties were left in place. These were then used by the ranchers and homesteaders in the area for buildings, corrals, and fences. We have seen many of them in the past few days. Just north of this point is the Walking Box Ranch. Established in 1931 from a portion of the vast Rock Springs Land and Cattle Company, the Walking Box was owned and operated by Hollywood movie stars Rex Bell and Clara Bow. They lived and worked here until the mid-1940s before moving to Las Vegas. The ranch changed hands several times and is now part of the Avi Kwame National Monument. The Bureau of Land Management owns the ranch, and it is not currently open to the public. I was able to get in on a private tour of the ranch buildings. This home is under construction. The old route passed across their private land. A bypass has been constructed to avoid the property.
That's interesting. Looks like there's a bypass. I'm not going to risk that. Do want low range. Might attempt it if I wasn't towing a trailer. Some old abandoned car and truck bodies. Body's about all that's left. It says it's U.S. Navy. That's kind of interesting and unusual out here. Maybe someone can identify what they are. They look like 50s era Chevys or Fords. I can't recognize the styling on them. This one's a 4-door, and this one's a 2-door. And this looks like it might be the flatbed to the truck. Looks like someone actually took a cutting torch, cut part of the suspension or the frame off. Frame, I guess it would be. It's like this one had a spare tire pocket, and the spare was almost upright in the trunk. The bench seat might be from any of the vehicles. It looks like the right-hand third
folds up. So that might have been for the truck. Off in the distance, you can see the Ivanpah generating station. Those bright lights are towers that have a liquid salt, I think, circulating through them, and the mirrors reflect sunlight to the top of the tower. And so that's reflection of a reflection of the sun, concentrated. Visible for many miles. We're on pavement for a little less than a mile, I think, 2 miles. And then we'll be back on dirt again. So I'm just taking it slow, 45 miles an hour. No one's behind me. And then we will get back into dirt and do some more dirt tripping. We are going to cross the valley ahead, pass through Nipton, and then continue north up toward the generating station. Power lines are crackling. Here is where the old EMHT ran. You can see the condition of the road is pretty poor. It's essentially wilderness now, I guess. And here's what that same road looks like when it gets traveled. So nobody's probably been on that other section since 1994. But here, where it's not wilderness, it's easily passable. Interesting comparison. This, I believe, is staghorn cholla cactus. Here, or almost here, to Nipton, which was an abandoned town, or nearly so, and the last I heard, the company that owns Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas bought it, the entire town, and intended to use it as a creative retreat and a way for their employees to get away and recreate, I guess. So looks like now it's more of a bunch of campers, so maybe they're allowing their employees to stay there. And now this must be the place. And Finding the track out of the wash and up the railroad berm for legal access was difficult. When you exit the wash, turn left and find the closest track to it until you reach the railroad berm. This will keep you out of the private property of the town.
Well, I must have missed the turn because I didn't find the way across to the road. There's some crosswash here. Looks like I gotta go back. Need some better signage here. Talk with Bill about that. Satellite photos shows a track here, but it's not real evident which one is which. So
the track west to the railroad berm is faint. I got out to reconnoiter on foot. hopefully this will work. This is where I came out. So there's a little bit of a problem here with route, and got to get it worked on because that says no trespassing private property, keep out, but there's no other way through, and that road was the road marked on the established route. So I need to double check that and find out if that's legal and what can be done about it. So it was a challenging just to find the track to get there. Here we have the town of Nipton, beautiful downtown Nipton, and that says a Hotel California. Nipton is at a crossroad of two old wagon routes across the desert, which existed as early as 1870. Established around 1900, with the construction of a store, it grew when the Los Angeles, San Pedro, and Salt Lake Railroad, later the Union Pacific, was constructed through town in 1905. The hotel was constructed in 1905 as well. In 1909, the post office was closed, and by the 1910 census, the town was nearly deserted. The only residents were the railroad telegraph operator and his wife. The post office was reestablished in 1911 when the population grew until 1919, and then again from 1923 until 1958.
This road, according to the BLM sign, is Ivanpah Road, and there are, or were, 3 Ivanpahs, I believe. We should be getting to the first one and the longest lived one at the end of segment 1, hopefully before the end of the day today. According to the map in the guide, just off to our left is the old traction road.
Completed in 1904, the traction road was an attempt by borax magnate Francis Smith of 20 Mule Team fame to ship his borax from Death Valley to a railhead and avoid building his own railroad. The traction road was a smooth road which was to carry a gasoline-electric hybrid-powered tractor pulling ore wagons. The road was nearly complete when testing of the tractor concept was found to be a failure. Borax Smith, as he was known, decided to use a steam-powered tractor to run the road. That tractor, the old Dyna, blew a boiler flue on its first test run. The project and the road were abandoned. We will encounter another Smith endeavor later on in the trail.
This road is not particularly rough, but there's a lot of crosswashes which force you to slow way down, and so don't take it at high speed unless you've got long travel suspension.
This might be where the old traction road was. It's a little bit different surface than the surrounding desert. There's more rock, especially on the edges. So this is to the west of Ivanpah Road. It's been smoothed out. Obviously, some of these bushes have regrown, but they're shorter here. Younger.
There's a new gas station here, and I'm gonna go ahead and fuel up because the next opportunity for gas is in Baker, and it's $4.69 there, where it's $4.19 here, apparently. $4.89 for regular. Well, maybe not so good. Looks like the prices have gone up, and I won't be stopping.
Ivanpah, the first mining town in the Mojave Desert, was established in 1870 after silver was discovered near Clark Mountain, and that summer saw 300 miners in the district. The mines began shipping ore valued at $170 to $2,500 per ton. A year later, the town had 15 buildings, including a hotel, 2 stores, and an office and headquarters for the company that discovered the mines. The mines boomed for years, and eventually there were 2 stamp mills there. The post office came in 1878, but the decline had started, and the post office closed in 1899 after silver prices dropped to 58 cents per ounce. In 1903, the name Ivanpah was given to another location, and later another near the New York mountains. Ruins of an old stone cabin. It looks like a pack rat's nest as well. At this point, segment 1 is complete. Segment 2 begins here, but we will find a campsite on the mountain and start that segment in the morning. I will see you next time. Meanwhile, get outside and take a dirt trip.
The climb is long and steep, very steep. The road is reasonably good because they've started operation back at the Coliseum mine at the top of the hill. So it's not graded by any means, but it has been at some point before too long ago.